भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती इति नामिने वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ ऋषि जीव गोपाल भट्ट दास रघुनाथ ये छय गोसाई करी चरण वंदन पूर्ण। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि श्री गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत भारती गोस्वामी श्रीमते भक्ति विज्ञान भारती गोस्वामी इति नामिने। Hare Krishna. So first of all, I would like to offer my unlimited dandavat pranams to the lotus feet of my spiritual master Jagat Guru Nitya Pravishta Om Vishnu Pad Ashtu Tarshat Shri Shrimad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, and as well as I offer my same unlimited dandavat pranams to the lotus feet of my Shiksha Guru Pad नित्य लीला पृष्ठ ओम विष्णुपाद अष्टोत्तर श्री श्रीमद शिला भक्ति विज्ञान भारती गोस्वामी महाराज शिला भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी प्रभुपाद, to all Rupanu Guru Vargas and to all the assembled devotees, those who are listening and glorifying our Shiksha Guru Padma Shila Bhakti Vigyan Bharti Goswami Maharaj. So once again today we assembled here and we are very glad to welcome our Gurudev's very near and dear daughter, Srimati Vasanti didi. And we all know her. She has been serving Srila Gurudev in many ways since so long, and especially she is traveling with our Srimati Shamarani didi. So we all know how our Vasanti didi, Anjali didi, and they served Srila Gurudev in publication department, and in many ways they are serving Srila Gurudev since many years. And today we are very fortunate. Our Vasanti didi, she will glorify and she will क्या बोलेंगे हमारे साथ में she will share her own experiences, how Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharti Goswami Maharaj, he touched her heart. So we request to our Vasanti didi, whatever you feel, whatever Srila Maharaj wants to speak from your mouth, whatever he inspire you, just please share it with us, so we also feel inspiration. Our Vasanti didi, Hare Krishna.
I would just like to say a few words before Vasanti Didi starts speaking. Sorry. As well as serving our Gurudev, she also served Srila Maharaj a lot. She brought us to Srila Maharaj in 2011. 2012, when we came from Navdi Parikrama, she took us to Maharaj. At that time, we were not available. Maharaj was not available or something. But and then she encouraged us in 2013 to be with Srila Maharaj for a couple of months when we took some time. So she brought many devotees to Srila Maharaj. She's everywhere after that. She and Shamrani Didi, wherever they preached the glories of Maharaj. They brought many devotees to Srila Maharaj, as well as now the books that we have printed, that Srila Maharaj's books, they've also been distributing a lot in the West. Every time a shipment goes, she gets some books from us, so she's also been serving Srila Maharaj in many ways. I just wanted to say that.
Hare Krishna, Vasanti didi. Now it's your turn.
Oh gosh. Okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you all so much. Agyana Timirandasya Gananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Panchakalpachubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Titanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Shri Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So first of all, I offer my heartfelt obeisances to my beloved Holy Master, Nitya Vishnu Vishnu Padasot Sri Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, and unto Nitya Vishnu Vishnu Padasot Sri Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada, and to my dear Shiksha Guru, who's divine centennial year we are celebrating this year. Vishnu Padasotso Shishima Bhakti Bharti Goswami Maharaj. So thank you for including me. I feel extremely embarrassed, especially in front of all of you scholars, and not just scholars, but heart and intellectual devotees. So anyhow, by some good fortune, I feel like I'm a mercy case, and our Gurudev and our Srila Bharti Maharaj are extremely compassionate to keep me somehow close. Also, Srimati Vasanti didi, keeping me close. So otherwise, I would be, who knows. So I think most of you know me. I'm more of a sentimental type. And so, as Sanjay Prabhu said, yes, Srila Bharti Maharaj has extremely touched my heart. I feel like he saved my spiritual life after our Srila Gurudev left this world, this physical manifestation. I was a little bit depressed and thinking what to do. I didn't want to go on tour anymore, actually. I was like, what's the point of touring with Srila Gurudev not here? And I was also really sick. I had a crazy mosquito disease. And so we were in Navadvip Dham Parikrama 2011, just a few months after Srila Gurudev left this world. And I could barely walk because of this disease. I had chikungunya. And so I wasn't going on Parikrama, but actually before Parikrama started, some of my god sisters invited me. They said, oh, do you want to go see Bhakti Balatirtha Goswami Maharaj? I said, yeah, of course. So I went, and he wasn't giving darshan because his health wasn't good. And when we got to Chaitanya Gaudiya Math, I saw Srila Bharti Maharaj. I actually didn't know who he was. Srila Gurudev always brought us to Chaitanya Gaudiya Math on Navadvip Dham Parikrama, but the focus was always on Bhakti Balatirtha Goswami Maharaj. So it didn't register to me. And seeing, that Srila Maharaj was on the stage and he spoke. And anyways, that same day, I read in our Centennial Harmonist, Srila Maharaj's article. And it was so beautiful. He shared how when they went to, I think it was Vishakhapurnam, for a Vidi installation of Bhakti Puri Maharaj, that after that, Srila Gurudev and him were talking, and Gurudev wanted to go to Puri, but he had nowhere to stay. So Srila Bharti Maharaj said, oh, you can stay with us. And there was two rooms in his mat, his room and the brahmachari room. And him and Gurudev were supposed to go on the train together, but he knew that if he came and he offered Gurudev his room, Gurudev wouldn't take it. So he said, oh, something came up, I have to go back. And he went back regular class train, which, a little austere. And he moved all of his stuff out of his room, put it in the brahmachari room. So when Gurudev came, he said, oh yeah, this room is available. So as I was reading this article, I thought, wow, this is someone who really loves my Gurudev. And I was so moved. And then that evening, there he is in Chaitanya Gaudiya Math, sitting on just like a plastic chair, super humble, no one around him, no servants, no, and so I told Anita, I said, oh, that's Srila Bharti Maharaj. I just read his article. It's so amazing. She's like, let's offer pranam. So we went and we offered pranam to him. And I was actually, quite shy. And I just really kind of mumbling said, thank you so much for your article in the Harmonist. It was so touching. And then he just started speaking. He's known as the Encyclopedia of the Gaudiya Math. And he started telling such beautiful histories, especially like when our Param Gurudev, Bhakti Keshav Goswami Maharaj, how he, changed cloth with Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. And after that, there was about 10 god sisters sitting around and just hearing Maharaj. It was so sweet. And then one of my god sisters said, oh, Maharajji, this is our first Parikrama without our Gurudev, and we're feeling a little bit lost, what to do. And Srila Maharaj said, oh, you are so fortunate that your guru has built you a mat, given you rooms, given you prasadam, taught you how to do parikrama. By doing parikrama, you're following the 64 limbs of bhakti. He said, so you are so fortunate. He said, but I'm so unfortunate because now I'm old and my feet don't work. I can't walk. I can't go on parikrama. And then he said, but I am fortunate because all of you have come to see me today, and now I'm having darshan of devotees. And when he said that, and he had this, this like really boyish smile, and I just felt like, whoa, my heart just was like smiled for the first time since our Srila Gurudev had left about 4 months prior. So I was just really blown away and really happy. And um, I went back to the Mat, to our Keshari Gaudiya Mat. And I was very close with Isha Prabhu, who was our father of our Srila Gurudev's archive. And he had messaged me on Skype, like, oh, did you have darshan of, Srila Bhakti Bala Tirtha Maharaj? I said, no, but I met this incredible Vaishnav who just like electrified my heart. Srila Bhakti Bharti Maharaj. She's like, oh, if you feel that way, you should go see him every day. So I was like, okay. So the next day I couldn't go on parikrama because of my ankle issue. And so I went back. I thought, oh, let me go see Srila Bharti Maharaj. And I was really nervous about it because, the crazy mind plays tricks. And anyways, I just grabbed my beads and I got on a rickshaw. I went to the Ghat. And just to be completely 100% honest, I was nervous because, people say like, oh, you shouldn't go hear this person, that person. And, so some of that was entering my consciousness. But I thought, as I was on the boat crossing the Ganga to Mayapur, I was like, well, Sharmani Didi and Vijnana Maladi, like all these, Vijnana Maladi, all my seniors in the early 90s, they were crossing the Ghat from Mayapur to Devananda Gaudiya Math to come see Srila Gurudev. And then, of course, in Vrindavan going to Mathura. I was like, and they did it, like, it's great, it's good. And I know, intellectually, I knew that it was the right thing. Well, and my heart knew it was the right thing. But there's just, some weird thoughts came in. But I thought, well, it doesn't matter. I'm going. So I get to Sri Chaitanya Gaudiya Math, and I walk to, Srila Maharaj's room. And it's, and then whoever was in the room was like, oh, come on in. And usually with Gurudev, I'm so used to having to wait. And so I go in. I had no idea what I was going to say. And it was such a, just bhakti is such a matter of the heart, And so I go in the room, I sit down, and I just like told him everything. I was just like, Maharaj, I'm the assistant to Srimati Sharmani Didi, and then my seva was to travel on tour with our Srila Gurudev. And I just feel like there's no point now in going. I feel such a void in my heart. And I just feel lost. I don't know what to do. And he said, this void is good because it'll make you remember your guru even more. And everywhere you go, so many things will remind you of him. And he said, and then so in 2008, just a tangent, in 2008, Sharmani couldn't really walk due to osteoporosis. And our next tour was like in a month to Australia, Fiji, and New Zealand. So I went to Govardhan. Gurudev was staying in Govardhan. I went to Govardhan. I told Gurudev, I said, I don't know if we're going to be able to go on the next tour because Sharmani can barely walk. And he closed his eyes and he said, I'm praying to Giriraj Govardhan that very soon she will heal. And then he went like this, and she will continue to travel around the world. She will continue to travel and preach around the world. So then I go back to Vrindavan and we got treatment and everything was good. And we ended up going on that tour. So then when Srila Maharaj was telling me this void is good, you'll remember your guru even more. And then he said, so you should continue to travel and preach. And then he went like this. He said, travel and preach the glories of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And when he went like that, I was just like, Guru was one. I felt Gurudev just totally streaming through him, speaking for him. I mean, and I just was like, just the medicine coming from a pure devotee's heart and lotus lips. It's, it's so otherworldly and so phenomenal. So then I felt overjoyed. Okay, I had so many emails, people asking, got to book flights, we got to do this, got to do that. I was totally ignoring everybody, and I was ready to go. And then Srila Maharaj said, "Oh, I'm coming to your Gurudev Samadhi today." I was like, "Oh, wow, great!" And I said, "When? What time?" And he said, "As soon as Madhav Prabhu takes me." And right when he said Madhav Prabhu's name, Madhav Prabhu walked into the room, and I was like, "Whoa!" And then Madhav Prabhu saw me, and he seemed a little surprised, like, "Oh, you're here?" I'm like, "Oh, you're here?" And so that was really sweet. And then I rushed back to our mat, and then Srila Maharaj did come, and he sat, the samadhi was just little, wasn't built yet, and he just sat outside, and he spoke in Hindi. I don't know what he said, but it was just, the feeling was so, when this car drove in and everyone went running, just like in Srila Gurudev's time, just running behind Gurudev's car, running to the pure devotee. Anyway, so that was my introduction to Srila Maharaj. And after that, I did go on this first tour after Srila Gurudev, the first tour after Srila Gurudev left, and the first stop was Hong Kong. And just as Maharaj said, I felt like it, his mercy. I'd been there with Gurudev in 2008, so it's a very small entry to the high-rise building where the temple is, and there was kirtan going on, and I got in the elevator, and it was just like being with Gurudev in 2008, that powerful kirtan and echoing in the elevators. And so let's see. So I kind of kept it on the down low that I was seeing Srila Maharaj. I just, different understandings, different, people. I don't know, didn't want to make any waves or any, uh, anyways. So I went though to Chandigarh with Vijnana Mala Didi, and it was just us. It was, I think Charu might have been there, but Srila Maharaj didn't have so many sevaks yet. So when we got there, he was just sitting. He would go sit by himself, and we sat with him, and he just spoke to us in English. And his English is so great. I was so sad when when he started not speaking English anymore. His English is so good, this old English and this British English, and his choice of words, so poetic. Anyways, he was just speaking to us so beautifully about, and one main thing was that his Guru Maharaj, Bhakti Diet, Goswami Maharaj said, when there's an opportunity for seva, you take it because you don't know when it's going to come again. So he was sharing with how, and to be, and doesn't, and to serve any mat, not, he really, Srila Maharaj just opened our world of, our big Gaudiya family. And, we always say on every holiday, if you don't glorify the Vaishnavas on their day, inauspiciousness will come. And if you remember them, if you don't know anything about them, just say their name and all auspiciousness will come. So, he was sharing about different Vaishnavas that he would serve, and then he shared about our Gurudev, how it was very hard to get cement in those days, and Srila Gurudev was expanding Devananda Gaudiya Mat, and he went to Srila Maharaj for help because Maharaj, he had to get permits, and he built mats for his Guru Maharaj. So he shared how he helped Gurudev get the permits for cement and got him a lot for the Devananda Gaudiya Mat. And just such a sweet time in Chandigarh. I mean, it was, Maharaj fed us. He made sure we had in his own room. He made sure Narottam Prabhu brought us prasadam, and he sat us down in his room, and we took prasad right in front of him. And then I went to Pune. Maharaj would spend winters in Pune, 2012, 2013, I believe. Anyways, Srimati was health wasn't good, and so we went to a Ayurvedic clinic in South India, or in Udupi, and I went to Pune. And then Maharaj was just family, and our Gurudev too. Our Gurudev, was so big, and at this time, Srila Maharaj was still small, and we were in this really small apartment, and and then I was in an apartment upstairs with some girls, and Maharaj was just so, he's just so personable, and even to the details of how many chapatis we would take. And one of my god sisters, who's really small, very small bodied, she had 8 chapatis. And he was so, we just relish. He just was laughing that this little girl could have so much prasad. Narottam Prabhu, he had Narottam Prabhu personally cook for us, not spicy. And he'd go on walks in the afternoon, about 3:30 in the afternoon. He would walk around these buildings, a lot of apartment buildings. And I remember the first time they told me, "Oh, Maharaj going for a walk, let's go." And we didn't get to go on, the females didn't get to go on walks with Srila Gurudev. Out of etiquette, he would stop and he would do exercises. And so they said we could go on the walk. I was so kind of hesitant, really? And he was so sweet. He'd walk and then he would sit down and then say it for a little bit, then walk, and then say it. Sometimes he would be quiet, sometimes he would speak. And one time we walked, there was this like really run down car, and like been there probably for I mean, there was like tree branches growing out of it and coming out of it. And he looked one time, he said, "Oh, this car is old and dilapidated, just like me." And then he kept walking. There's little things like this. And sometimes people would ask questions. I remember one time, I'm probably merging my years because I think I don't know if I went 2 years or 3 years. But one time someone asked him that after, I can't remember the question exactly, but it was something about like how after when Pirkei Maharaj was cursed, and then he met Sukadeva Goswami and heard Bhagavatam for 7 days. Something like he was going to all these different places before he met Sukadeva Goswami. And it was a very convoluted question. I didn't quite understand the question, but it wasn't really a proper question as well. And Maharaj just kind of blew it off. And then when we got back to the apartment and he went to his room, and he never did this to me before, only this is the only time. He went to his room and the door was kind of cracked, and he looked at me and he called me. He's like, "Oh, come, come." And I was so nervous. I went to his room and he said, "Oh, you heard the question? You heard the darshan outside?" I said, "Yes, Maharaj." And then he quoted, um, Yaha Bhagavata Pade Vaishnavera Stane Ekanta Ashraya Kore Chaitanya Charane. He said, and then that's all he said. And that was it. And then it was just so, when pure devotee speaks, and he's so penetrating into the heart that he was just really, really fixing that in that, you can't understand Srimad Bhagavatam without under the guidance of a pure devotee. So, that was his answer to the question outside. And I don't know why he told it just directly to me, but obviously everything is an instruction personally and for all. And I just felt so like, again, wow, that, um, just really fixing that, affirming that into me. So that was really, really, really nice. And yeah, our times in Pune were so sweet. So then I told him I was leaving the next day to go pick up Sharmani Didi from Udupi. And he said, "How are you going?" I said, "I'm taking a bus." And he said, "Oh, so," I think it was a austere. What did he say? I can't remember. He was such a sweet, he was so worried, just like you know, such a sweet father, more than obviously. Um, just like Gurudev, Gurudev was always concerned. I didn't just get like regular sickness in India. If I ever got sick, it was like something crazy, like chikungunya or hepatitis or, um, so Gurudev was always worried about my health on tour. And so similarly, Srila Maharaj, she said, "Oh, what?" Oh, gosh, can't remember the word, but something like, "What an austerity." I was like, "No, no, I don't mind it. I'll just sleep the whole way." So then he said, "Oh, make sure you go to Madhvacharya's house," which was amazing because I didn't know. Of course, was going to see Udupi Krishna, but then we went to um, Madhvacharya's house, and it was so phenomenal there. So I went to pick up Shamrani, and then I brought her back. We went back to Pune, and we spent our last week with Maharaj there, and that was really incredible. And what else? Mm. So, and I'm just flowing. Please, thank you for thank you for your tolerance and uh, patience with me. When Maharaj came to Vrindavan, that was so sweet. Came once in my time with him, and we went to Srila Sanatana Goswami's samadhi with him, and to Madan Mohan temple. And Shamran Didi asked Maharaj, like, "Oh, what's the importance of coming on these darshans?" And Maharaj said, actually, again, so personal, just making relationship with all of our acharyas and Goswamis. He said, if you're in the neighborhood, then you must go visit. Otherwise, it's an offense. If you're in your own country, then obviously you offer pranam from where you are. But when you're in their town, in their village, you must come. And everything was just so personal with Maharaj, just such relationship. He helped us, he's helping us make relationship with our guardians. And then, of course, being in Mayapur with him for Gaur Praneem, and Faridabad, Delhi. Where's that? Parganj. That was really sweet. In Parganj, they have an anniversary for their Thakurji, for the anniversary for the deities, and we went for that. And he was so sweet with Sharmani Didi. So sweet. At first, he was so heavy. I know this is not this Sharmani will have her day. But I wasn't there for the first darshan so she didn't come. When I told her I was really inspired by him, actually, and she said, great. You're going to make a relationship with him? I said, I'd like to. And she was like, yeah, go for it. But she didn't come herself. She just felt like she was so busy. She had so much seva. I don't know. She just uh, wasn't her time, I suppose. Um, so when she'll tell you, I'm sure about it. When she speaks, he was very heavy the first time when she first met him. She was with my best friends, Krishnamaya and Shivananda Prabhu, and Navadvip, and Shiva Prabhu was, glorifying her. She's this, she's that, she's an artist. And Maharaj said, without Bhajan, what is this? It's nothing. And she was so happy because Gurudev and Prabhupada, it was like, Prabhupada, Jadharani, the first disciple, da da da. And Gurudev, it was, also she's she's, how much you'd glorify her. She's more than any sannyasi. She's my encyclopedia. She's my dictionary. And so Maharaj was just like, he didn't care. And so she was really happy about that. And I can't remember why I shared that, but then the next year when she came back to him and after she met him and had an amazing darshan, then the next year when we were in Gurugram, and she'd asked a question, and then he said, oh, you are so sincere because you are always giving your ears. I thought that was, so sweet. And he never, so then I'll just jump to, I don't know what year it was when he left Shri Chaitanya Gaudiya Math, obviously never left, but, for pastime purposes. And whenever Leela happened there, when he left Mayapur and went to Delhi, and oh my gosh, it was so incredible. We also then, after a day or two, I'm like, well, let's go to Delhi too. And so we left Mayapur also, me, Shamrani, and Jamuna. And we flew to Delhi. And when I got off the plane, I had all these missed calls from Sundar Gopal Prabhu. And then I called him back and he's like, yeah, Srila Maharaj was wondering where you are. He was waiting to give class till you got here. And I just like, how incredible. Like how, a pure devotee who's just, that he's just remembering us and waiting for us. And it was very late. So he gave class. And then we went to the apartment where he was, and it was already like, I don't know, almost 10 o'clock at night. But we went there, they had prasad for us, and we offered our pranam at the door. And then I think it was Madhav Prabhu said, oh, you can come in and offer pranam. And, Srila Gurudev, schedule was so strict. And darshan time was darshan time. And then doors are closed and that's it pretty much. I mean, so I was so used to, everything, the Gurudev schedule. And so them letting us into Srila Maharaj's room at like 10 at night, I was blown away. Anyways, we offered our pranam and he was laying in bed. And then he looked at Shamrani Didi and he said, oh, I left my mat. And Shamrani Didi said, yes, we know. That's why we're here. We came to be with you here. And he smiled and he was just so, his teachings, his out, everything's so exemplary, of course, but he said, even then, just laying in bed, he said, yeah, they wouldn't let me give Hari Katha. So, I want to give Katha until my last breath. I don't need anything from anyone, but just to give Katha. He said, I can live under a tin shed as long as I can give Katha. Just like, wow, what a Goswami, just. So we spent the few days with him there in Gurgaon for Gaurapanim. And Shamrani was painting Kunj Kirtan, and she asked for any direction. And actually, Maharaj, he had said that he never comments on paintings. When even earlier we had asked about something for another artist, he said, "Oh, I don't really comment on art or paintings." But she asked him for any input on Kunj Kirtan, so he said, "Oh, leave it with me." So for a few days, Kunj Kirtan stayed in his room, and then before we were leaving and we went to go pick up the painting, we were going to Vrindavan and we went to go get the painting. And she said, "So, Maharaj, anything?" And then there was like one gopi in front and he said, "She's not covered enough. Her chadar should be more." And he said anything. I think that's all he said, but he gave an instruction on the painting. And then he said a verse which maybe Sanjay Prabhu could find, or Sundar Prabhu, because I don't remember the verse, but he said it was by Srila Rupa Goswami, and it was something to the effect that about any talent, whatever talent we have, and that we use for in Krishna Seva. So he thanked her. He said, "Thank you for using your talents in Krishna service and with painting." So, and at the beginning, it was really beautiful because when she first met him, he was like, "Oh, painting is nothing if you're not doing bhajan." So, anyways, that was really sweet. And yeah, as Sundar Gopal Prabhu, I mean, said, we were just, we did continue traveling, obviously, around the world. And anytime in India, we would go and be with Srila Maharaj. And, anyone who would come to us and ask us about, "I heard you're going to see Srila Bharti Maharaj," or, anyone who wanted to take initiation. Okay, this was the last thing I'll share was about our Mexico trip. Because, so Sharmini, I can't remember now what year, because everything becomes a blur, but we had to go to Mexico due to health, because we were in LA and the hospital messed up on an appendix surgery. And Rohini Nandan Prabhu from Vrindavan happened to have to go back to Mexico for new visas at that time. They never leave India. And then they went to Mexico. Sharmini wasn't healing. Things were really intense. And I asked him if he could come to California. He said he would, but he couldn't get a visa for California. So I said, "Can we come there?" He said, "Of course." So we went to Mexico and to be with Rohini Nandan Prabhu. And Sharmini had to have another surgery there, and he helped her recover. And there were so many people in Mexico that were just floating, and Gurudev Sangha and ISKCON, just kind of out there, uninspired, hadn't had any association in a long time. And they were calling Rohini Nandan, "Oh, we want Jadharani or Sharmarani," but they knew her by is in Mexico. "Can we come see her? We come see her." For the first 2 months, Rohini, nobody was allowed to come. She was full recovery. Then after that, finally, slowly, we had darshans, and people like, "I'm uninspired, haven't had any association, not chanting, not reading." And so Sharmarani Didi, of course, was sharing about, and myself also, were sharing about Srila Maharaj. And so while we were in Mexico for those 6 months, over 50 devotees took initiation from Srila Maharaj. And I really feel like we went to Mexico for that, to just re-enliven so many devotees, like longtime devotees also. And so I went to Kartik that year, and Rohini Nandan and Rasakali and family, they just like, "Vasanti, you go to Kartik. We can take care of Sharmani. You go to Kartik." So we were at Gopinath Gaudiya Math with Srila Maharaj, and Sharmani had a Skype initiation with Srila Maharaj, and I got to be in the room, me and Bhakti Kinkar Damodaraj, and they did Guru Puja, like through the computer, and they were throwing flowers at the computer. And then I got to stay in the room and Maharaj during the initiation. And afterwards, there was some sweets. It was so sweet. And Maharaj gave the sweets to the computer, to the devotees there. It was so nice. And then he left them on the computer, and I just, of course, grabbed them up. And so we had a lot of initiations. I got to be with Maharaj on that initiation, so that was really powerful. But on the other side, when I was, with Sharmani, we had so many initiations on Alachua, and I can't remember where else, but yeah. So we, we're very happy to have, that opportunity. And also in Puri, I'll end with Puri, being with Srila Maharaj in Puri was very remarkable, because actually, one, we all, not like a serious lamentation, but not a regret, but sort of a regret. Like, I don't know why we didn't go to Puri with Srila Gurudev in 2010. Because we're always with, we went with Gurudev so many places, but in India, we didn't really go with Gurudev so much. And so we were working on Gurudev's books, and, so much easier to work on Gurudev's books in Gopinath Bhavan, where the GVP office is, and all the publication devotees. So we didn't go to Puri. And I always kind of like lament a little bit, like, why didn't we go to Puri? We knew that Srila Gurudev pretty much told us that, he was going to leave. So anyways, I got to spend 2 winters with Srila Maharaj in Puri, and I felt like, wow, it's like being with Gurudev, and he would come to Gurudev's Mat for Param Gurudev's appearance day, and the boys would put him in a chair and carry him up, just like how they did with Gurudev. And Gurudev, Srila Maharaj, he would glorify Param Gurudev so beautifully. Also, we got to do so much service for Param Gurudev and glorify our Gurudev. And um, so just being with Maharaj and Puri, his Hari Katha, he would speak every day. And then he would even speak, and then he had so many, he'd say, now he had Sevaks, and he'd say, oh, I have so many policemen, and my policemen are stopping me from speaking. And so he would get up to go back to his room, and he would continue his kata. Even as he was walking to his room, he'd continue speaking. And we'd all be like following along, trying to hear. And then, of course, he would always, prasad was so important to him, giving prasad. And I remember one time in Vrindavan, there were so many people to give prasad to, and Kishori Mohan Prabhu and Sudevi were like, oh, told his sevaks, like, it's so much for him to sit for a whole another 45 minutes after kata to give prasad. Maybe like with our Gurudev, he would put his hand in the prasad and give the first one, and then it all becomes prasad, and then the devotees can give the rest. Maybe he should do like that. So they did that the next day. But then after that, Maharaj said he didn't like that. He wants to personally give and in the hand. So he would, everywhere we went after program, was so important to him. And Shamari asked him once, like, about it. He says, Prasadam, this prasad coming from Mahabhagavat is taking away the anarthas and giving bhakti. So it was a wonderful, wonderful Leela with him. So many wonderful Leelas. I don't know. Maharaj is just so, so merciful. His Harikatha also so much, hearing so many like also little like backstories. Maharaj was so sweet, and so his kata was such, so much instruction. And then I just always, for me, one of my favorite things about Maharaj was his backstories, um, like about when Krishna and Sudan Brahman went to the forest to collect for, they got stuck in the rain, and Srila Maharaj told how before they left, Sanipani Muni's wife gave Sudan Brahman some like chickpeas, and he hid them. He like had them hidden. And when they were stuck in the rain, he was cold. He ate them. And then Krishna said, oh, what are you eating? He's like, I'm not eating. He's like, it's so cold that my mouth is shivering. And so, like this Maharaj said, he didn't share his prasad with Krishna. So if you don't offer your prasad to Krishna, you'll always be poor, like Sridham Brahman. So these little teeny like nuggets of, I don't want to call them backstories, but these little like nuggets of kata that within obviously his kata is just so memorable and enlivening. It's just so enlivening to remember him and hear from him, and how he stressed. Of course, his Guru Maharaj stress, our whole parampara stresses is, Gajendra Moksha. And yeah. Anyways, please forgive my uh, inability to clearly elocute my lack of eloquence. But I, again, just so grateful. I mean, the disciple can only show gratitude through our sadhana and our seva, which I'm praying for their mercy to be able to do more deeply, and praying to Srila Maharaja's lotus feet to keep me affixed there without the mercy, again, without the mercy of the Vaishnavas. We are just an ocean without a vest, without a, they are our life jackets, our everything, and praying to hold on to their lotus feet, Srila Maharaja's lotus feet, and my Guru Maharaja's lotus feet, our whole parampara. So thank you so much, Lavanga Didi and Sanjay and Sundar and Prabhu. All of you are so inspirational to me, actually, doing so much seva, and praying that I get to come to India this year and have your association and hear from you all. So please, again, forgive my offenses. Anything good obviously came from Srila Gurudev and Srila Maharaj. Panchakalpachivascha Kripasindavevacha Padipanam Padmanivya Vaishnavi Namo Namaha.
Thank you so much, Didi. Thank you so much sharing with us your personal moments with Srila Maharaj. I wanted to ask you one thing. As you said one very heart-touching line in the beginning, that bhakti is the matter of heart. You said something like that, no? Bhakti is the matter of heart. Bhakti belongs to heart. So when you were started going to Srila Maharaj, and when you started listening from him, so that was the time, as you mentioned also, that was the time that Gurudev just left, and then everybody was searching that kind of shelter. So what brings you to Srila Maharaj? How you feel, how you connect Srila Maharaj and Gurudev? Can you please elaborate something?
Sure. Well, as I mentioned, like I was feeling, depressed and when Maharaj spoke to us in Navadvip, I just ended up, in front of him, and that his smile and his kata of, just straight kata of histories of, especially, so I don't know, I felt like, like the way that my heart felt, I don't know, that I felt like my heart smiled, and it was the first time I felt like life again after Srila Gurudev left. And I just felt like, okay, I got to follow this. I'm feeling enlivened, and not in a sentimental way of, but because I wanted to, I wanted to remember that, okay, Srila Gurudev is always here, he's always with us, but I'm not on that level. Like I'm not connecting internally through my japa and seeing Gurudev, and I'm not advanced enough. And of course, I have my amazing seva. The last thing I said to Srila Gurudev actually in 2010 was, to please bless me that that I can always stay with Sharmani Didi, that I don't veer or go off, and that was kind of like a PS, because my main reason that they let me in to see Srila Gurudev in 2010, because he was doing his Sikh Leela, was because I went to the Commonwealth Games, and it was just, that was just like one of the most phenomenal experiences of my life. But I had a huge bag of rupees of donations, and so they let me in to give it to Gurudev, and oh my God, it was such an amazing darshan. But after that, and then I said to Gurudev, please always keep me with Sharmani Didi, because I kind of felt it might be the last time that I would get to see Gurudev alone like that. So then being with Srila Maharaj and feeling that, like, I could feel Gurudev in him when he spoke. So I had to just follow that. So then when I went again to see him and hearing him and the main point was just like being inspired again. So I felt like Shiksha Guru is supposed to bring you closer to Diksha Guru. And that I felt that, like I felt, and even someone asked me actually after finding out, and of course everyone came to love Srila Maharaj, or not everyone, but and then Srila Maharaj got huge. Like I said, in the beginning, he spoke English to me, to Vejanti Mal and I, and then darshans were like 8 people, 12 people, 15 people. And after 2 years, oh my gosh, it was huge. Then darshans were 100 people, 200 people, and he stopped speaking English and he was speaking in Hindi. But at the beginning, when it was like really small like that, And I was, I've heard, from Guru and, reading CC that Shiksha Guru brings you closer to Diksha Guru. And I thought, wow. Oh, someone asked me, are you still going to work on Srila Gurudev's books? And I was like, of course. Like, why wouldn't I? I mean, that's my seva. And I love and so I felt like Shiksha Guru, for me now being accepting Srila Bharti Maharaj as a Shiksha Guru brought me closer to Srila Gurudev in my seva. Like I wanted to work harder. I felt like I wasn't doing enough. Like I'm not doing enough seva. I'm wasting time. And then continuing going on tour was is the main seva. And um, so in that respect, I don't know if that answered the question, but yeah, in that respect, I felt closer to Srila Gurudev and then understanding Gurudev's Katha even better and wanting to read more. And then and then I remember hearing this lecture from, I can't remember what year it was, but it was Srila Gurudev's Vyasa Puja. And then in that Vyasa Puja, he talks about Bhakti Dayat Maharaj, how Bhakti Goswami Maharaj would personally serve the Vaishnavas, prasad, he'd give the gifts. And then Gurudev said he came to me, he gave me prasad, he gave, I don't know if he gave him a cloth or some sort of, honorary. And Gurudev said, I'm not even qualified to be his disciple. And how he's honoring me like this. And I had never heard of these Vaishnavas. Like when I was with Gurudev, when he'd talk about, of course, Srila Sridhar Maharaj or Bhakti Mahapuri Goswami Maharaj, but he would talk about these Vaishnavas that but it didn't register. And now, you know, like, I don't know who's like Bhakti Stranga Maharaj or Bhakti Star, Bhakti Gaurav Vakanas Maharaj, Gurudev would include them in his list of pure devotees that were serving Saraswati Thakur so much, but I didn't have that relationship with them, and I didn't, Gurudev would speak so fast. And then hearing about them from Srila Bharti Maharaj, I'm like, yeah, like Gurudev also introduced us to our huge Gaudiya Vaishnava family. And then I got all the details and more life history from Srila Maharaj. So anyways, just how his katha and his just affection and his being brought me closer to Srila Gurudev. So like this.
Thank you so much, Didi. And what you were telling that the same incident happened, Srila Gurudev mentioned something about Shamrani Didi, like he did something like that. And same thing Srila Maharaj did, na?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that was my confirmation. Like that was like, I that same
Same
motion.
sign.
I mean, the same. Yeah, I was like, okay, that's just. If I didn't get it at that point, then I would never have gotten it. But the same motion was, and the same statement, continue preaching preaching the message of Mahaprabhu around the world. I was just like, okay, I get it.
Something personal Srila Maharaj said to you, which you want to share with us, some personal teaching, something very personal touched your heart, and if you want to share Srila Maharaj anytime, anywhere, like you have been in so many places with Srila Maharaj, you have heard so much his Hari Katha. You remember something that you asked something to him and he said something to your bhajan and anything personal, if you want to share.
Mm, wow. Um, okay. Well, okay. So yeah, quite personal actually. Just in the gist of it was one time when I was going through something like really difficult time, and I went to him to share. And it was, he's so available. I mean, Srila Gurudev was so available too. The pure devotees are so available. Sometimes people think, oh, they have so many followers, I can't get to them, I can't reach them, or like, why would they take time for me? Or I remember I was going through something really difficult and just went to his room and told him. And he said, yes, when you start practicing bhakti, so many obstacles will come. And he said, so you must fight. And that's like my mantra. Like we have sutras, or we have, like, or we have these affirmations, to repeat. It's like to repeat these affirmations every day. And that's like my superlative affirmation. You must fight. Because bhakti's not, Srila Prabhupada makes it sound, just chant Hare Krishna and be happy, and everything, it's easy. But actually, when we go deeper and deeper and the layers get peeled away, we see that it's actually not always so easy. And um, Maya's strong. And sometimes we feel like, oh, we're not even afraid of her. Like, she won't touch me. I'm chanting, or little thing, I can do this, I can do that. No, but actually we should always fear Maya. And um, anyway, so that was actually one of the most personal instructions that I got from Maharaj, and it saved my life. I mean, really saved my life, and really, I don't know, I don't feel so strong sometimes, but yet I feel strong at the same time. Like, and actually by him saying that, I'm a martial artist as well. Those of you who don't know that, I came to Krishna consciousness through martial arts, and I still train with my martial arts teacher, Shivananda Saint Prabhu. And so fighting is like, something that I really like. And, but there's like one thing that when I first came to Krishna consciousness, and Shivananda said, the soul can never be hurt. The body can get hurt. But Lamara is saying, like, you must fight. It's like on a soul level, there's, and just that one sutra is like so expansive, because we have, it's this internal world, this heart world, it is a fight against whatever it takes to keep, the mind steady, the mind fixed, it's we have to fight. We got to fight out all these things. It's so many, anyways, it's very layered. But thank you so much for asking, because I haven't really thought about, I mean, I think about him saying that, but the layers, I feel like you gave me the inspiration to look at those layers of that one statement. So anyways.
One last thing I wanted to ask. Have you started connecting Srila Gurudev and Srila Maharaj Harikatha?
Yeah. Well, actually, like Srila Maharaj, sometimes when he would share, and it's such a good question, because sometimes at the beginning people are like, oh, they're not the same mood. And, because Gurudev would like go straight to, not straight, Gurudev would talk a lot about, Krishna Lila and pastimes. Although Gurudev, when I travel around the world with Gurudev, and it was always Prahlad, Ajamil, Bart, Judd Bart, Bart Maharaj, like he would go through Bhagavatam, Ambarish, the five kinds of bhaktas. He told that everywhere, and it was always the last day. He would like talk about Uddhav and like, oh, there's not enough time, and I wanted to tell so much more, but there's not enough time. And so when Srila Maharaj would speak, and he would, he would give so much Bhagavatam, so much, but he would say, I felt like he would give like, he would, when he would share about like for example, like why Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, and Narpita Trim Shrad, he came, but he would just touch it and he wouldn't expand on it. And I'm like, oh, well, Gurudev would expand on that, that, or maybe he did expand obviously in other places or in Hindi and I didn't understand, but I feel like they're not speaking anything different, and that it allowed to go deeper into what Srila Gurudev is speaking. And I was just thinking one thing, it just escaped my mind. But just that the parallel, there's so much, parallel kata, obviously. I mean, what Shiguru is one, but when someone said like, oh, maybe it's a different, a different mood, or everyone has a different mood. I mean, the gopis have different moods. I mean, they're all, right? They're like, we're all the same. Then what's the variety? I mean, that's what Krishna teaches. That I feel like that's the main, that we don't lose individuality by, you know, we're not like impersonalists, we're all like one mood. There's varieties of moods. And so Srila Bharti Maharaj's variety, Srila Prabhupada has a variety, and Srila Gurudev has, you know, that it just showed that, you know, to kind of tune in to pray, to tune into their different moods, and that what they're speaking is not different. No pure devotee is going to speak anything different from each other. So it just really helped me like reconcile that, you know, because I was hearing things, you know, and of course I was following my heart, so I'm not gonna like, but that also I didn't grow up in ISKCON. I like barely went to ISKCON, and I know ISKCON has such amazing training, you know, like Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita to Bhagavatam, like very what's the word? Like organized. And, you know, so when I was with Srila Gurudev, like basically I learned everything from, you know, being on tour with Gurudev, hearing straight from Gurudev. I hadn't read Bhagavatam or CC yet. You know, I was very young, actually, very new when I started traveling with Srila Gurudev and Srimati didi. I had like been, you know, like joined in 98 and then took initiation in 2000. And I started traveling in 2002. So I was like very, very young, and I was like very unqualified, you know, still young and unqualified, but way more young and unqualified then. And so I was hearing everything straight from Gurudev. So by hearing from Srila Maharaj, and especially like stressing Srimad Bhagavatam, I felt, and then going back and reading Gurudev's lectures and hearing, you know, hearing Gurudev's lectures again and reading them again, even though I transcribed so many of them, you know, I just felt like, wow, Gurudev wanted us to go deep. The last thing Gurudev said actually in America was, if you have any question, 2010, if you have any question, ask Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavatam will answer. You know, and I was like, wow. And then Srila Bharti Maharaj stressing Srimad Bhagavatam so much, I felt like, wow, you know, that, and now we have a temple, so we're reading for the past 5 years, reading Srimad Bhagavatam every day. I really feel like, yeah, the kata is not different, you know, different flavors, of course, different words. Srila Gurudev would always say, same wine, new bottle, you know, when he would compare himself with Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And same, I felt like same with Srila Maharaj. New words, or maybe new flip, not a new flip, but new, you know, different language, but same bottle. And so I feel actually I'm understanding Gurudev even more, you know, when I go back and read, especially his Bhagavatam lectures and the 5 kinds of bhaktas. I'm understanding it more deeply because of Srila Maharaj. So I don't know if that helped. That made sense, but
Thank you so much, Didi. Thank you so much. Someone asked to Srila Sridhar Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj, that why pure devotees has different ideologies, why they have like, you know, different kind of thoughts. So they must be same because they are pure devotees, they are transcendental personalities. Why we see differences, different ideologies between Mukt Purush, transcendental personalities? So Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj very sweetly he replied, and it's really touched my heart, especially. He said that, oh, we need to understand their ideology. Actually, they all want to serve Krishna, but as Krishna, he gave one example. Krishna went to cow grazing, and after a whole day, he returned to Nand Bhavan. Now, what Jashoda Maya wants with Krishna? Jashoda Maya wants that my boy should take rest properly. But what gopis want? But what gopis want? Krishna went to cow grazing, and the whole day he did cow grazing. He returned to Nand Bhavan. Now what Jashoda Maya want? She want that, oh, my boy is so tired, he must take complete rest. But what gopis want? Oh, Krishna should not take rest. He must comes to us. So is this different ideology? Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj said, is this different ideology? No. They all wants to serve Krishna, but they're, with their own ways. If Krishna will sleep, how gopis will serve Krishna? But Jashoda Maya wants that my boy must take rest properly. And what gopis want, oh Krishna should come immediately to us. We want to serve Krishna now. So Srila Sridhar Goswami Maharaj, as you said, very nice thing that this is our Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj statement that, oh, Shiksha Guru, who is actually Shiksha Guru? Shiksha Guru is he who will bring to the disciple closer and closer to his Diksha Guru. And that's what Srila Maharaj did to us actually. At that time, many devotees, they used to thought that, oh, Srila Maharaj Harikatha is different, Gurudev's Harikatha is different. But actually, if we hear properly, we see that Srila Maharaj very beautifully, very deeply, he nourished all the disciples of our beloved Srila Gurudev. He was our real Shiksha Guru. Few days before, as our Lavang Didi, Amrish Prabhu, Sundar Prabhu, they are sending Srila Maharaj Harikatha. So 2-3 days before, in his Harikatha, Srila Bharti Goswami Maharaj, he made one statement, very nice statement. And that statement showed that how our Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharti Goswami Maharaj, he was nourishing us. He was speaking Harikatha, I think, in Pune. And Maharaj was, explaining Rai Ramanan Sambad. So Srila Maharaj said one statement in that Harikatha that, oh, if someone is not doing Radharani's bhajan, that person cannot do Krishna's bhajan. He will do only Narayan's bhajan. He cannot do Krishna's bhajan. He can do only Narayan's bhajan. He cannot do Krishna's bhajan if he is not doing Radharani's bhajan. And he gave that example from Ras Srila, from Vasanti Ras, that Krishna left Ras, Radharani left Ras, and then Krishna took the form of Narayan in Pentagam. And the gopis, those who came before Srimati Radhika, they saw Krishna in the form of Narayan. But those who followed Srimati Radhika, they only saw Krishna's beautiful form, because when Srimati Radhika was coming, the fragrance from her divine body came in Krishna's nose, and Krishna could not, hold that Narayan form. So that's what Srila Maharaj moved. He also used to glorify Srimati Radhika, also always used to glorify Srimati Radhika, but in a very, very specific way. Our Gurudev, from wherever he used to start, he will conclude only Braj and Braj Gopis and Srimati Radhika. But Srila Maharaj, what he did, his Harikatha, the speciality of his Harikathas was like that. First of all, he used to glorify so much Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's disciple and all of our Guru Vargas. So he brought us closer and closer and closer to them. He used to speak so much about them. Through his lotus mouth, we heard so much about Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur's, great disciples. And then Srila Maharaj, that was his specialty. Like we always say that Shirup Goswami, he elaborates Srimati Radhika's glory so much. But what Sri Sanatan Goswami did, our beloved Srila Gurudev used to say that Sri Sanatan Goswami, he wrote not so much, but he wrote something like very little. Not so much like Shirup Goswami. Sri Sanatan Goswami wrote in Brihad Bhagavatamritam how he concludes Srimati Radhika's speciality. But whatever Sri Sanatan Goswami wrote, Sri Rup Goswami even took Sri Sanatan Goswami's writing. Sri Jeev Goswami took Sri Sanatan Goswami's writing. So that was the speciality of our Srila Maharaj. He spoke Srimati Radhika, he spoke Braj Bhav, he spoke Braj Gopis, but in a very, very specific way. But whatever he spoke, whatever he used to speak, that was very, very special, very, very special. So he nourished all the disciples of Srila Gurudev, and that was his specialty. One more specialty, as our Srila Gurudev, he never ever asked. Whomever came to Srila Gurudev took them personally, and he nourished them, and he gave them everything as his own disciples. So that was the same quality, same specialty we see in Srila Maharaj, in his life. He never asked. Whomever came to Srila Maharaj, he never asked that, oh, who is your Gurudev? From which month he came? He, very gently, very personally, he used to taught whomever can come to him, whatever he wanted to ask, he will, used to help. So that was the conception. But slowly, slowly, when we hear Srila Maharaj Hari Katha, we feel that we are coming closer to our Gurudev. We are coming closer. And how it is possible that they are different? If they all are Rupa Nuga, they must be same. It is up to us now how we understand them. So it takes time when we hear slowly. So our Gurudev Srila Bharti Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Vallabh Goswami Maharaj, they taught the same line as our Srila Gurudev used to say about Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, है ना? So thank you so much
Yeah.
for sharing so many beautiful
Yeah.
memories, Didi. Our Sundar Gopal Prabhu, Amrish Prabhu, Lavang Didi, if they want to say something.
I will just say something quickly on this topic about how close Gurudev and Srila Bharti Goswami Maharaj was once in a morning walk in Australia. So that time, Prem Prayojan Prabhu had come and said there was a celebration of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Prabhupada's Avirbhav Tithi in Vrindavan, and many devotees came. And at that time, one sannyasi from one Gaudiya Math made the comment about something about Varnashram Dharma. He made a wrong comment. So at that time, I can't remember now. At that time, then Gurudev asked Prem Prayojan Prabhu, did you tell all our devotees, or did you tell in the assembly that is wrong? Then he said, no, I didn't tell in the assembly, but I told all our devotees what this person is saying is wrong. The conception he is giving is wrong. And that time, Srila Gurudev asked, was Bharti Maharaj there? Was Bharti Maharaj there? If he was there, he would have refuted this statement. So that time we hear how close Gurudev had faith in these words that they knew Siddhanta. They wouldn't say things like that. They wouldn't allow things like this. So in this concept, I just wanted to mention that.
It's a good point. I remember that. The Srila Bharti, Bharti Maharaj would never say anything wrong. He would refute. Nice.
Didi, at the beginning, you mentioned about your sort of hesitation when you came to Guru Maharaj, having come from Gurudev Sangha, and there were so many, kind of things going on, oh, we should not step out. And I remember I transcribed one darshan of Guru Maharaj, and I believe it was Mamta Didi from Holland. She posed the same question, saying that all our lives we heard that we should be associating with pure devotees. And now that Srila Gurudev has departed, and now we have actually begun to come from you, now we've been questioned, why are we going outside and associating like that? So Guru Maharaj explained in such simple words. He said, we have some mechanism where we can recognize something. Say if you go to a shop, you go to buy things. Say a particular brand is not available, and the shopkeeper tells you, now you're looking for whatever, washing powder. We have this brand available. Then you have a touch and feel, you buy that product and you use it. And if it has the same effect, you know this product is as good as the product I used earlier, which came in a different packaging. So he said, this policy of saying don't go here, don't go there, it is for absolute neophytes who cannot reconcile. But if you've had sufficient exposure to using a particular product, it's as easy as going to a shop and buying it for a first time trial. And when you use it, you become satisfied, saying that yes, although the brand is different, the effect is the same. He said, we must keep our eyes and ears open to see when we come in a presence of a sadhu, what we feel. And if we feel our Guru's presence, then we must know in this Vaishnava, our Guru has manifest. As simple equation as that.
So nice. Actually, it reminded me in 2012, when I was going to Pune, and there was still a little bit of that, going on. Then I was on the train. I was by myself. I was on a train, and from Vrindavan to Pune, and I just would randomly, sometimes I just go on to just randomly pick any lecture of Gurudev's. And then I was listening, and I was like, it was so mystical that Gurudev spoke exactly to this. I wasn't even questioning really, because at that time, like again, back to the matter of the heart, like I know what I felt, But anyways, in this lecture, Gurudev said that there was like a son whose father like would always, they were gardening, and he would something to the effect that he would always have this pond, they would get the water from like their pond for gardening and for drinking. But then the father left and nothing was taken care of. And anyways, the pond became like, what's it happen? When the water becomes still, like then it's not pure anymore. It gets all filled with, bugs. And anyways, then they told the son, oh, there's a new well, you should get the water from this new well. And he's like, no, no, no. My father got it from this pond. I'm going to get it from this pond. And so I heard that on the train. I was like, whoa, Gurudev was just speaking right to me, the kata that I needed to hear to go deeper in that. Yes, like what I'm doing, like as you were saying, to anyways, I just thought it was reminding me of that kata that I heard on my way to Pune. So I thought that was um, it was
I
really magical.
remember I remembered one thing from our documentary about when you said that and it gave you that confirmation. So Mahabodhi Prabhu, who was a Prabhupada disciple,
Oh, yeah,
Prabhupada had requested him. He had ordered, not requested, ordered him to chant the verse Tesham Sadati Yuktana
Mm.
every day, and he said this way you will get intelligence. And he had been chanting it every day for 50 years. And then when Srila Gurudev, not 50, however many years it was, 25, 30 years.
Right.
Okay, and then when Gurudev actually met him in 96, he said that was the first time that he had gone to Florida. And he said, I've come to Florida only for you. I've come to Florida only for
Your
you.
Guru Maharaja sent me.
And he was like, really, like, why would you don't even know me? That he was going through.
Yeah.
And then Gurudev just put his hand on his heart and said, Tesham, just looked directly in his eyes, said, Tesham.
God.
And he was like, I was just like, that was it for me. So when you said that, I could immediately just feel how it was the same, because it was a way that the pure devotees maybe reach out to us, by these symbols or these ways in which we can get that, and how you must have felt when he did that, and then you must have felt the absolute presence of Srila Gurudev. That was one thing. And the other thing, Tapasvi Maharaj actually could not join because I think he had a network problem, but I think he would have spoken this thing. That he was earlier, like when he joined, he became temple president, this, that, and he was working really hard, on trying to grow in bhakti, but somehow he was not growing beyond a point and he was just feeling stuck. And then he was asking other senior devotees in the institution and he wasn't getting any answers. And then he came to Gaur Govind Maharaj and he said, I felt life. Like you said that you felt alive again. So he said, I felt life. So it's that contact with the pure devotee that really our heart, brings our consciousness, our soul to life, really. And that's the sadhu sangha that really uplifts us. So thank you so much. That was
Thank you so much. Just the last thing I wanted to say, that like I don't, again, the disciple can never be great, like the disciple can never like show their gratitude enough, but and what Srila Maharaj has given, by opening up our whole Vaishnava family, our Gaudiya Vaishnava family, and instructing us, like especially through my beloved masters, and what he spoke, but having the tangible book of my beloved masters, because now I'm a temple president, which is like crazy. And we have our temple here in Miami. And, I haven't really thought about it till right now, actually, as we're talking, but this teachings and this instructions, these lessons, this gift that Maharaj has given, like we have a temple now of, it's all grandchildren, it's all, except for me. And maybe I have one godbrother there, but it's all grandchildren, new devotees they're all 2 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old, maybe max, 5 years old max. And they're all in their 20s and 30s. They're so inspired. They're so enthusiastic. They're so fired up. And and of course they're so advanced. They have Srimati Sharma, like training them. But our Srila Maharaj's influence of this non-sectarian, this it's phenomenal actually. And because we have disciples of all of our gurus there, our new, like, the next generation gurus, or however you want to call them. Not sure how to like Gurudev sannyasis, or Srila Gurudev sannyasis. So I guess just like meditate, especially when I go away, when I step out, I don't get to go travel as much as I used to, but I do get a little bit of travel here and there. And when I'm out of the temple in Miami, then I see, like, wow, that of course Sharma is not sectarian, but Srila Maharaj's influence because we celebrate every appearance and disappearance day, and then to hear about our acharyas, like Bhakti Gaurav, Iconos, all these, and their etiquette, to learn sadachar, you don't really learn it, and we're learning it through the examples of our acharyas. So anyways, just a really huge gift of Srila Maharaj, especially at seeing it more on the daily by having an actual temple, which I never thought we'd have. It's really powerful. So
Wonderful.
Yeah.
हरे कृष्णा। कोई कुछ कहेगा? सब मौन हो गए।
Thank you so much, you all, for engaging me and purifying me in this way.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Didi, for sharing with us. And it was very simple, but really heart touched. Many things to remind us, many things. Our Srila Maharaj, he was very special, very special. Whatever he used to speak, even one statement, simple statement, as you mentioned that even in his bhajan kuti, he used to speak Harikatha outside. When he used to come in his bhajan kuti, at that time he was very talkative. Actually, he was very talkative. Sundar Gopal Prabhu could remember many things. Every time you come to in his room, he will ask something, whatever. Oh, what is in your hand? What you are taking from my room? What you are bringing in my room? So he was very talkative. But even in a simple talk, he used to give a very deep siksha, very deep teachings. So that was his specialty. Each and every statement, whatever he made, very special, very special. He clarified one very unique topic. What is really Diksha Guru and what is really Siksha Guru? From whom we first understood little bit that, oh, Diksha Guru, as we always hear that Diksha Guru and Shiksha Guru, they both are same, but personally we don't understand actually what is the meaning of Diksha Guru and Shiksha Guru. They both are same, this and that. But Srila Maharaj, through his Hari Katha, he used to elaborate it. He used to clarify it, that what is the meaning of Diksha Guru and Siksha Guru, both are same. So through his own example, he used to taught us that, oh, even though I took Diksha mantra from my Gurudev Srila Bhakti Madhav Goswami Maharaj, but as I served so many disciples of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, so I got so many Shiksha months from them. So through his Hari Katha, we understood that even though through Shiksha months, Diksha could be done. So through his Hari Katha, through his own example, he clarified this. He used to elaborate so much this topic. What is Diksha Guru? What is Siksha Guru? So as you remind us that the real Siksha Guru is he who will bring us close and closer to our Diksha Gurudev. So that the same thing our Srila Maharaj did to all of our God brother and God sisters. So we are very thankful to you, and we are very glad to announce that next week our Gurudevs and Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada's very near and dear disciple, very senior disciple, Srimati Shamrani Didi. She will come next week and she will glorify Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharti Goswami Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, and Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So we are very glad that Shamrani Didi will come, and we are hoping many other senior devotees, those who served Srila Maharaj very deeply, those who were connected with Srila Maharaj for so long, they will also come. They will mercifully, they will join us and they will speak, and they will, remind us, inspire us to our path of devotion. Hare Krishna. और कुछ कहना लवंग दीदी? Thank you so much, Vasanti Didi. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so
And
much,
thank you,
everybody. Keep
and
me in
thank
your
you so
prayers.
much for your services.
Oh my gosh, thank you all for yours. Please keep me in your prayers so that I can somehow serve and be like you all. You all are so, yeah,
While we
so
were-
inspirational.
Whenever we used to go through photo archives of Srila Gurudev, and each devotees had submission of the photos. So from that, you could know how many times they traveled with Gurudev. So all through the years, you can see Vasanti Didi, Anita Didi, Vasanti Didi, Anita Didi. And now when we go through Srila Guru Maharaja's sound archive, and year-wise, we see Vasanti Didi folder popping up again and again. So both ways, we can estimate your good fortune of how much you ended up spending time with them in such close proximity.
Wow, that's the thing. The problem is not about the close proximity, though, as you know, because even a mosquito, is right there, can be on the cloth of a devotee. So, anyways, they're very merciful. They're very compassionate upon me. So,
Thank you so much.
Thank
for
you
coming
so
over.
much. You were in the middle of your travels and you just just really, it didn't look like you were not prepared, or it was just like beautiful, very, very beautiful. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Wow.
And looking forward to see you in Braj soon.
yeah, me too. Me too.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
And you will send a couple of
Vijnana, Bhakti.
Namaha.
Jai
Jai
Shri
Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharti Goswami Maharaj ki.
Rupanuga Gaudiya Guruvar ki Jai.